let's get into action mode. All right, my friends, if I hit all the buttons live, all the buttons right, couldn't say it right. All right, let's try it again, shall we? So, hey, we're back again for another episode of Talk Power BI. Man, don't you love Fridays? Well, this certainly is a highlight. Although I would say that it's not always my favorite day because some Thursdays we hang out with our class. Tuesdays too, sometimes. I love those as well. So it's kind of hard, actually. It's kind of like trying to choose between your kids. Who's your favorite? But of course, we get to hang out with you. All right. So if you're watching me on YouTube, let's do this. Let's check in on you. Say hello. Definitely say hello. Let me know where you are watching us from. Where are you right now? And yeah, I was saying hi. Oh, okay. All right. There we go. And I see Steve is back in San Antonio. Nice. Jen says happy Friday from Chicago. All right, Steve, good to have you on. How was Florida? You were in Florida, right?
Yeah, I was, but before I tell you about that, I don't think you're sharing your screen on GoToMeeting.
All right, let's fix that.
That's better. Well,
What's coming up?
I see someone else's screen.
Yeah. No, I think that's the ceiling of Gian Pietro. I think his
yes.
webcam is on. All right, so yeah, let's go to the phones first. So I see Gian Pietro, I see Michael. Michael, man, we haven't talked in a while. I see Steve and Tom. Hello, my friends. Let's kick it off with you guys. Was there something that you had in mind, an update you would like to share with the group here?
Well, Avi, I'll just give you an update. I received the two books we were talking about. I bought
nice.
the bill. I don't have it in front of me, but the dashboard books, and I'm getting into it.
Nice. That's great. Terrific. I think I should slot that in. We'll talk more about that. All right. How's everybody else on the phone? I'm not seeing that many hellos from YouTube yet, but folks are joining on. As I see, I do see hello from Solihull, or was it Solihull? In England. So Julian, hello. Good to have you on. All right. So Gian Pietro, how are you doing, my friend? Okay, all right. Well, you do have a working mic, right? You can talk to me if you like.
Yes.
Michael, how are things at your end? If I remember right, you're based in Italy or somewhere, right? Netherlands, maybe. Ah, okay, no worries. All right. All right, folks. So, gosh, I'm pretty tempted to dive into questions, but we'll wait. We'll just share some. Gori is joining from Ireland. Hello there. Pavan says hello from Dubai. Great. So, folks, what's going on exciting in my life is, well, so if you go to my site, learnpowerbi.com, you're going to see that right now we have the replay available off the webinar that I've done, how to become a Power BI consultant. And I definitely enjoyed the interaction there, so go ahead, catch a replay. It's available for a limited time. Now, of course, with that, we also marked the enrollment to our program, a Pro Plus program, 6 Figures Power BI Consultant. And boy, if we know we're going to cap it to 20 spots, we do have 43 applicants in the queue right now. I have talked to a whole bunch of really exciting folks, and it's odd. So what I'm thinking, and again, I always kind of learn from these experiences too. And this is the second time we're offering it. The first time was beta. We have so Steve is part of that beta group. And one thing that I'm learning this time, which in hindsight is obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me until I started talking to these people, is kind of the you know, the people that I'm talking to, they're so diverse in terms of pretty much everything. I mean, they're common in some ways. Let's talk about that first. Pretty much all of them, they share this love of Power BI. And, and me and Steve had talked about that, where Steve spends his Saturdays on just doing it Power BI, not because anybody's forcing him to, because he loves it. And I've heard this from others where yeah, they take time just to work do this stuff. And I've also heard different variations of, kind of losing that sense of time. And I love that, where you're kind of so immersed in something that you lose the sense of time. Like, oh, where did the time go? Oh, wow, So, yeah, so that's definitely a common thread. There may be a few other things here as well. There's one that is maybe it's the type of person that I attract or something. But yeah, they always have this bigger theme about, sure, we want success, money, riches, big house at the pool, whatever, right? The red Ferrari or red convertible, something like that. But that's okay. That's all right. It's okay to have those goals. Nothing wrong with that, by all means. But I think your life should mean a little bit more than that. And these people are beyond that. And this or some variation of it that is always there. But apart from this, I'm seeing a lot of diversity, a lot of different Power BI skill levels, that's for sure. And I do feel that you do need some skill level. You always think you always overestimate how much Power BI skills you need. Because sometimes I would almost describe them as experts, but they're hesitant. They're saying, yeah, but I'm not that good. I've only been doing it for 3 years. You hear crazy things like that. I'm like, no, no, you're fine. And of course, even those folks, and some who've been doing it for months, but I don't think that really matters that much. It's not as important. So they're at different skill levels, and I do think that that is not a factor towards success. So let's put that kind of to the side. But the other stuff that I noticed, which is kind of interesting, is definitely different backgrounds. I mean, there are a few finance folks, but otherwise very very different background. I mean, somebody is in the logistics company, and of course, in our current class, we have examples. Like Noah, who was mostly focusing on nonprofits and that sort of stuff. And I'm seeing the same thing here. So different backgrounds, and also slightly different goals, and there are different things that driving these people, which is pretty awesome. But anyway, long story short, what I realized, and again, hindsight is 2020, right? And I see that this is also the case in our current group, which is we have very different kind of people, and I feel like this is gonna be our strength. This is our strength, that we bring together this kind of diverse set of people, because I think, I don't know, I feel like it's a more uh, I don't know what to say, like productive group. It's just a more powerful group. Steve, help me out here a bit. What is your feel being with the other group? I mean, certainly we have had quite a variety of members even in our current group. I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, do you see it right away that yeah, that's a good thing, or not? It's okay to not agree with me. Steve, any thoughts you want to share? All right, no worries. Let's see what's going on with chat. Um, so let's talk about the next thing, which Steve did mention, which was so me and Steve decided to kind of tag team and focus on dashboards. Now, if you heard me talk, I rarely talk about the visualization level, because I talk about the 80-20 rule, where 80%, 80, well, the valuable stuff is under the hood. That's what gives you the best bang for the buck, the best results. And if you do it backwards, if you don't focus on your model, if you don't focus on M, if you don't focus on DAX, then what you get is just a bunch of reports. And frankly, they're not that different than the old world of having a bunch of Excel reports. So yeah, so I talk about that, and I do think that that's extremely valuable. But not to say that visualization does not have its value. It has incredible value. In fact, the thing about visualization, and I recognize that too, it is the face of Power BI, right? So it doesn't matter how valuable stuff under the hood is. It doesn't matter how much it empowers you then, right? So I say that once you build a model, you can build any report off of that. You can answer any question that's asked of you. You can answer the question that's being asked right now, the question that they're going to ask next. So like, oh, this is great, Avi, but what about this, this, and this? You can answer those, and you can answer, if you do things right, questions that they may ask 1 year from now. So that's a strength of a model. Great, acknowledged. But still, visualization is a face of Power BI. That's what they would see. Now, again, if you've heard me kind of on here, then I'm a Stephen Few fan. Kind of the less is more thing and all that. And I still believe in that. That's absolutely true. You don't need glitzy dashboards, and people often confuse two things with building reports. They confuse storytelling. Hey guys, I'm getting a little bit of feedback on the phone here. Michael, I'm gonna put you on mute. Just unmute yourself. Oh wait, I'm not sure who am I getting it from. Yeah. So hey, Gianpetro, if you wouldn't mind, just hit the mute button. There's one spot which is giving some feedback. Okay, sorry, I had to do it for you. All right, so we confuse reports, storytelling, and infographics. Often, what you see, kind of the fancy stuff, they're doing this. They're not creating a report. They're telling a story, and that can be a presentation. If you're in a meeting room and you got kind of 10 minutes or 5 minutes to present a point, it's easier if you're in a storytelling mode. And of course, Power BI allows that too. There's bookmarks that you can walk through. It's like, yep, this happened and this happened in South Africa, and look, this is what's going on in the partners over there. That's in the storytelling mode. And then, of course, there's the infographics. And oftentimes, we kind of get confused between these two. We see that, and it looks exciting. It's really awesome, and we get swept away. And I'll share one example. Not my scorn for it. But well, I would say Scorn. Why not? Yeah. So there was this moving bubble charts, and Scorn. I can't spell that. I don't have that much respect for this. Scorn. What? Am I not spelling it right? Okay, maybe a different word. Anyway, I don't feel that great about moving bubble charts. They have bit mean rare. They have they don't work as well, and oddly enough. This was anyway. So I mentioned that inside my course, I think, where I say watch out for this, and somebody, oh gosh, who's that person? Is it? Gosh, I can't remember now. Is it? Hold on, let me look it up, guys. The person with like the most watched TED Talk on data. Oh yeah, Hans Rosling, of course. The guy is a legend, and unfortunately, he passed away. My understanding is that his son is carrying on his legacy, which is great, and of course he's definitely left a great legacy. So Hans Rosling TED Talk, really awesome, and he used bubble charts like it's an unbelievable display. Again, watch that TED Talk; it's really epic. But you realize that he's not showing a report, my friends. He's telling a story, and he's doing a dandy job of that, right? But we confuse that with reports. But anyway, so come back to this. So me, Steve, and we might have another partner as well teaming up soon. One member I was talking to, who maybe has already joined or would be joining the Pro Plus program, so they were interested in visualization as well. So we're gonna go into this and just kind of explore more and see how things happen. All right, cool. So let's see. Let's check in. I guess this one is just Q&A. How are we doing in time? That's great. Let me see a few more highs online. Yay! Who do we got? Julian, Pavan, and Gori. I said hello to you earlier. Theo's from Holland. Julian has a question. I'm connecting my phone. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That Julian. Now I recognize you. I connect the dots. Year to date across multiple years. We can take that question first. Aja says hi. A question, Felix, how to establish a gateway connection between FTP and Power BI. It's an interesting one. What's voice says hello. Mukesh says hi. Mukesh is saying I want to show a number in a map. Any number in a map, particular country like India. Interesting. All right, so I got two questions. Julian, let's take you on. Although you're dialed in, but it says audio is off. I don't think I've ever seen that thing before.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, okay. You're dialing.
Yeah, I'm
Perfect.
I'm on Bluetooth on the phone.
Nice. Let's do that.
And I'm on the computer as well, so the computer's the one that's muted.
All right, so let's have Julian kick us off. So I'm gonna copy your question. Year to date across multiple years.
So first of all, the thing you did for me last week.
Yes.
Remember the reverse date works a treat. Absolutely a treat.
Nice.
Of course, it is quite straightforward in theory. There's a lot of things, isn't it? That you might have a complex question. The answer's actually straightforward if you can only work it out.
Yes, So the phrase that I love is, "It's easy when you know how," right?
Yes.
And that's the thing about, I think, DAX and all this stuff. When you know how, let me write that. It's not hard, and of course another analogy that I use is kind of like learning to ride the bicycle. If you don't know how to ride the bicycle, man, it seems like the hardest thing in the world. I would know. I learned how to ride a bicycle in the 9th grade, so I really struggle with that. It feels impossible. Like how in the world can anybody balance this thing on to? Hey, there's yeah, it's a little bit of background noise around you. It's not too bad, but yeah. All right. So So once you kind of figure it out, it's easy. So Julian, there's quite a bit of background noise around you. See if you can kind of minimize that. All right. And tell me, what do you have on your mind today? So year to date across multiple years. Do you have a file that I can work with?
Yeah. The problem is I can't anonymize it. That's the problem.
Okay, mate. So it goes much faster if you can give me something. Give me a screenshot. Tell me what the problem is.
If I share my screen, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that. Make sure. So, all right. So you're the presenter now. Something should come up on your side. All right. So, and this data is cleaned up, right? I can put this up on YouTube.
See there. So that up here.
So hey, I just want to make sure I can put this up on YouTube, right?
All right. Okay.
Okay. All right. So year to date, got it. Okay. Walk me through.
Okay. So that was following through that video there. I'm probably not going to explain that too well, but that video you did with the year to dates, I've used that to generate that table.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had to put, if you see over here, I had to put, that's the filter for the year to date that comes from the.
Yeah. Oh, across multiple
calendar.
Years. Oh gosh, yeah, we have solved this before. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I found, now my data only goes up to May.
For current year. For current year, right? Or for all the years? That would be a little weird.
For current year, yeah. So let me just switch that filter on. So that's, if you see at the moment, yeah, it's picked up June's figures because we're in June now.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But my data only goes to May because I'm doing it monthly. So my June data is not available yet.
Yeah.
Okay? The only way I could get that line switched off was by filtering it out there.
Yeah. So the year-to-date flag, if I remember it correctly, is at a date level. So it's
a day level, isn't it?
Yeah. So what you need to do is, instead of that, what I would use is probably, so when you're what I would use is the current month off. Okay, I see where this is tricky. So you want to do kind of year to date, but not the current month. I was gonna say current month offset, So when I'm only showing current year and even prior year, then I can get away with saying current month offset is less than 0. But how do you, that wouldn't work across multiple years. I think you need to change the year-to-date logic then. I think that feels like the easiest way. Okay, let me take over the screen and see if we can solve it on my side.
What I tried to do was to say, is a month in the past. Not you've got in the calendar, is today in the future in the past. I was trying to do that with the month and played about with the calendar, and I couldn't get it to do that.
Yeah, I think that's all it is. I think you just need to kind of change the kind of the way that's being calculated. So let's take a shot at that. And Cheryl, hi, by the way. Good to have you on. All right, let me pull up the calendar table. Hey, yeah, there's a bit of background noise on your side again. I would say.
Sorry, I'm just moving to the physical.
Okay, yeah, but you can mute yourself when we're not talking, and that way. Okay, so I had to mute you. Sorry, my friend. Okay, so let's. Ooh. Okay, I got that. Gosh, I should have captured a screenshot. So year to date across multiple years, and I feel like we have solved this before. Fair enough, but we have a slight twist. And I think with Power BI, that's where it gets us. Where you see something in a video, in a course, and say, look, I saw Avi do this, or I saw somebody else do this. I have the whole blog article, step-by-step video, everything. But then your situation is just slightly different, and you get stuck. And it feels kind of frustrating. But I want you to realize that, and of course we talk about that inside the course, that is how you learn. That is the learning cycle. And of course we call it the learn, do, fail, which is, when most people kind of talk to me. But the other side is a win. And what you need to realize is that the faster you go through the cycle and the more times you go through this, the quicker you can go through these. That's how you get good at Power BI. All right, perfect. So let's try to recreate this thing, and we're going to say, ooh, well, this is going to work. Yeah. The calendar, put year, matrix. We're going to say sales, and we're going to have sales. Ooh, why did it put year in values? That's silly. Columns, we got months going. Look at us. All right, so we have this, and now if we, oh shoot, we don't, oh, this is the old calendar table. I'm gonna have to, sorry guys, just give me like a minute. I'm gonna grab the latest calendar table. And by the way, I think I shared this in one of the videos where I realized, and again, kind of, it's easy when you know how, or hindsight is 2020. I was providing the calendar table in like a separate Power BI file, and it always takes a little bit of time to open that and that sort of stuff. And I realized that you can just provide it in a text file. So we're going to do that. So we're going to say edit queries, and I'm going to open my ultimate calendar text file. There it is. And actually I want to show you, yeah, that's good. So capture that, come back here, and go to my calendar, advanced editor. By the way, hey, if there are any newbies here, sometimes newbies join my call, and I don't want you to get scared off of Power BI, all right? So, so this is just a place for us to kind of hang out and answer questions. And sometimes questions come in at all different levels. By the way, there are no stupid questions, only stupid answers. So I don't guarantee that I'm not going to give you a stupid answer. Maybe I would. I mean, if I can't solve it, it's something I may make myself look stupid, and I love when that happens because that's okay. So don't hesitate. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a silly question. Everybody's going to laugh at me. And I really think that our schools need a big change because we picked that up in school. That whole, I don't know. I mean, there's so many opportunities in school to look stupid. And Anyway, we're not that. This is not your school. I'm not a school teacher. I'm just here to hang out with you. And so do not hesitate to ask questions. This is why this forum is. Now, if you haven't found it out yet, the place to start is on my channel. Right up top, you would find the tutorial. And of course, if you want to continue that journey beyond that tutorial, we have our paid course as well. The tutorial gives you the kind of the lay of the land. And then in the course we dive in deeper, right? So the tutorial is right here. All right, so we're here, and now we have year to date. Perfect. So let's bring it back here, and I just want to kind of replicate the problem. The problem. There are no problems. Okay, so I'm going to pick up the year-to-date flag and put it here. What I'm expecting to see is exactly what Julian showed, that the June is going to show up as year-to-date. And of course, it's not right or wrong. It's not what Julian wants. So it's all about that. Okay, so we put a slicer here. So I'm going to use a slicer just so... what happened? Oh, there we go. All right, so when we say year to date, come on, there we go. And I'm expecting it's gonna show till June. I was concerned for a second. Just took some time to update. Great, but we don't want June, and we can see that it's kind of I'm not sure about these numbers. Well, let's focus on these numbers. So June is like 340, 278, 744. And what if we remove year to date? Perfect. So these are bigger numbers. So understood. So obviously year to date, the way it's been currently defined is it's running off of current date, and we can go check that in our calendar table if you wanted to, but or maybe we can. So yeah, let's actually go check it real quick. So the way it's been defined is that if we go flag year to date, it's by current day. So it's saying we are year to date current till well, what happened here? Where's my date column? Well, it's going to be till June 14th. Oh, there it is. Yeah. There we go, right? So it's saying June 14th to the current date. That's how it's defined. And again, that may be okay for somebody. Clearly, when we did it, we thought that was the right way to do it. And again, just Julian doesn't want that. So he wants the current month not to be there. Now, there are other things in the calendar table. There's current month offset, which you could also repurpose perhaps. But I feel our straightest, quickest shot to this is to change the year-to-date definition. So change the year-to-date definition and say not by. Oh boy, that's. I'm thinking if we should take a real shortcut. Maybe we would. We'll see how it works. So in this table we have the current date, and instead of it being like a date in the middle, maybe we can always have it be the end of last month. So really not move the calendar forward. Now that it doesn't feel, I'll admit, 100% right. It might have some other effects which I can't think of right now, but I'm pretty tempted by that. Let's go in and look at the year to date for a second, how it's done. So year to date. So it's comparing current date. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to mess with current date because it's probably used in other spots as well. And of course, you can look at advanced editor and see where current date is being used. But yeah, it just doesn't feel right. I was pretty tempted. So we'll just change it here. We'll just change it here, and maybe we would even take this thing and define a new Julian year to date. Okay, so let's go here. Add a current day offset. Maybe we can add it here. So we'll say insert step after. Okay, cool. Let's go. So insert a flag year to date. Julian Glass. Awesome. My understanding is you can now have like stars named after you if you pay somebody a good amount of money. Add a flag. Okay, got it. So this one, and we're gonna change this step. And didn't like it. Why? Token table dot add column. Oh, because I didn't copy the whole formula. Yes. All right. Rename. Added flag. Year to date. All right. So, folks, I just renamed it. That's all I did. And now we're ready to kind of make changes to it. So I do not want to use current date. I want to use the last day of previous month. Maybe we can solve it kind of here. Yes. All right. So let's go back over here. Current date. And I'll say insert step after. Okay, let's see. Okay, perfect. I think this is good. So this is, and we'll say end of last month. So let's go to our Power Query reference. Reference. There we go. All right, and let's go to date functions. I'm looking for date.add months. Let's do that. So we'll say to the current date. There you go. Date.add months. Oh, add months. Wow. Thank God for autocorrect. Current date. Current date. And then -1. Let's try that first. So I'm expecting 514. Perfect. And what if we say date dot, is there end of month? End of month. Perfect. Wow, man, I was so used to having the query reference open on the side, but so now I'm expecting it's going to say January, February, March, April, May, 531. Oops. No, didn't. Wait, what happened? Why isn't it happy? Date dot end. Oh, okay, of course, because I didn't mean to remove the date dot end of days. Date dot add months. Sorry, add months. That was supposed to still be there. So now I'm expecting 531. 531. Perfect. So and now if we go to year to date Julian Glass, and instead of the, well, what did we call it? End of last month. I try not to use spaces in these things. I don't know. It's just Makes it easier to reference them later. Oops, didn't want to do that. Let's try. I feel like I want to. Yeah, that's good enough. End of last month. You can have spaces, but I just try to avoid them. Okay, so now if we come back here, and if we look at our formula, we're gonna swap the current date with this new end of last month, and I think that should take care of us. Come on, you can do it, M. There we go. So all we need to do is, oh, oops, what just happened? I don't quite understand. Somehow it detected that I was referencing this and updated it. So I was expecting this to say current date, and then I was going to change it. And I was going to feel so smart about it, but clearly that's not what happened. So this is good and bad. Hold on, let me just go to the advanced editor and see if I didn't mess anything else up, which was the whole point of not messing with the current date. So I'm gonna copy this here. I wish there were other functions here. If this was a full-blown kind of an editor, kind of like Visual Studio does. Syntax highlighting is great, but there's not even a find function there. So I'm gonna copy it over here. I am gonna syntax highlight. So this is, there we go. Notepad++, huh? Any fans out there? And I just want to see that what got switched to other things that got switched to end of last month. Maybe not. Which case? So this is the first one. Great. Next. Oh my God! Yeah, everything got switched to that. So what I'm gonna do is replace that. So I didn't mean to do that, and I realized that Power BI was trying to help me, but that's not the help that I needed. I knew perfectly well which one to fix. So anyway, unfortunate side effect, but we can fix it really quick. So let's go this. So we'll see. We're gonna say find this, replace it with current date. I also want to restore it back. Let's go find next. I'm tempted to replace all. Actually, yeah, let's replace all. Let's replace all, because we know that the end of last month only needs to be in two places. This one here, so this one is good, and then the year-to-date Julian Glass thing. Yes, there you go, Julian Glass, da-da-da. So here it needs to use end of last month. All right, so a little bit of a detour there, but I think we're good. No syntax errors. Hit done. And if I look at this Julian Glass thing, yep, it's using end of last month. So when I go back, I expect the original year to date is going to work the same. It's going to be broken as far as Julian is concerned, but the new year to date would be kind of fixed. So let's see. This is going to bring in the calendar. All right, so year to date, nothing has changed. It's still showing the partial June month. And again, what we can do is, oh wait, oh gosh, okay, whew, that was crazy. I was like, what happened? I just wanted to bring in, since you have a matrix, I wanted to bring in the date as well. Actually, oh shoot, I actually don't want to bring the date because it's across multiple years, and that's gonna get crazy. Can I? It's not like if I had like a day of month field, and man, that's why this is ultimate calendar. I mean, I just realized that I don't think we have a day of the month field, which is what I'm needing right now. I wanted to show, is it June 1, 2, 3, 4? I don't think I have that. Might have to go back and add it. All right, fine. We're gonna try adding date. It's not gonna be pretty, but let's just see in action. Okay, so date, and let's add the plus minus symbol in the matrix. There we go. All right. And again, basically what I was showing is, yeah, it's showing June through 14th, right? So June through 14th. Boy, that's not what I expected it to show. What about 2015-16? I think there's something broken in the matrix. Am I the only one seeing this, guys? This is so. If I add a date in there, 2014 should have June dates and it should match up with the data. 2015 should have, those dates, but it doesn't show me. And how do I pop it out? Oh yeah, sorry, need to hit the scroll bar. So yeah, this is what I was saying, that I didn't expect it to be pretty, because instead of just saying June 1, I don't have that. I would like to have that, or just saying 1. It's saying, oh, this is for 2014, it's for 2015. So if we add that new field, then they'll show side by side next to each other, which will make a whole lot more sense. So ignore that. But again, we were testing the year to date, and I was like, why is the slicer not showing up? There we go. So now let's add another slicer for our brand new field named after Julian Glass. Year to date. Okay, cool. All right, Julian, you ready? You better be ready. Let's do the stretch. Okay, this better work. All right, so we're gonna clear that filter, and my hypothesis, if I did everything right, if I click now this new year date, now what I should have done was even renamed this one. I don't like having kind of the same name, otherwise I get confused sometimes. So I would have called it year to date, I don't know, based on last month, something like that, just something to clue me in. But this year to date, coming from this one, I expect June to disappear. Moment of truth, year to date. Oh, yay! All right, so Julian, wait, are you? I'm not sure. Are you? Yes, you are. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Let me know. Is that? I just want to make sure that.
Right.
That,
brilliant.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll save this file. Folks on YouTube, you can get any files and all the notes from all of our Talk Power BI calls by going to talkpowerbi.com. How easy is that, right? But for Julian, I'm gonna paste a link to this in our chat window as well. That way you don't have to kind of go through that. So Talk Power BI shared public 2019, and what you will say 2019 0614. This one is year to date based on end of month, and of course we're gonna put the Julian Glass name there. Okay, so we got that, and I'm just gonna share the link with you real quick here on chat. And actually, you know what? I'll talk about VI. I'll just share the general link that we have. All right, Julian, so I put the link there. If you do go to the link, and by the way, guys, if you sign up for talkpowerbi.com, then you're going to see something like this. It's got access to my notes. It's got access to my files, a call-in link. And once you navigate there, 2019, and if you sort by modified, Julian's files would be at the top. Modified date, new to older. Yeah, there we go. About a minute ago. Perfect.
Fantastic.
Thanks, mate. Hey, that was a great kickoff. So let's go back and check in with our YouTube folks. All right, mate, I'm going to put you back and mute again. All right, great. All right, who else joined? All right, who's got a question on YouTube? I want to wait for kind of the first person who chimes in. Go with that. And if you had asked it earlier, just say something, copy paste a question again, or just say, hey, Avi, look at my earlier question. I just want to make sure you're here. Otherwise, it's kind of weird. I don't know who I would be talking to while answering a question. So yeah, type that in, and I'll fill that time. Maybe telling you a story. So gosh, one thing that I shared recently on my Facebook, and I think my second YouTube channel. So folks, there's this. I call it the iceberg effect, where people only share, like if you go on Facebook, the impression that you get is, oh my gosh, people are so happy. They're taking amazing vacations. They're in amazing relationships. They're so much in love, and everything is good, and they're doing these amazing things. And that's all true, but that's not the whole truth, So that's why the iceberg effect, where, you kind of see the stuff above the water. It's the only thing they share. But guys, life is bigger than that, and we don't really share that stuff. And frankly, for me, this was a struggle. And what can I say? I mean, it feels embarrassing to say that now, but I didn't quite realize it. I mean, and you look at everybody who's successful. Oh my gosh, that's the biggest thing. You look at others and you're like, oh, they're so successful, but you don't know what their life is. You don't know what they're going through. And of course, now I take success with a pinch of salt, because I do know that you can have all the outer success in the world. I mean, I hang out and have been with and talked to these really successful entrepreneurs, but you hear weird things. There's one person whom I really admire. He's the founder of ConvertKit, Nathan Barry. Nathan Barry, I think I got the name right. And brilliant guy, amazing, doing some amazing stuff, running this amazing company, and oh boy, and you see their pictures, and they show this company retreat where everybody is meeting. So they're like this virtual company, this new age company. Everybody works in different time zones and all that sort of stuff. But they have this once a year meet up at this exotic location, and everything is great, right? But I love that guy because he wrote kind of his annual newsletter, and he said, the best thing that happened to me was I started seeing a therapist. And I'm like, whoa, right? And again, nothing wrong with seeing a therapist, but you start disconnecting these things. So yeah, I don't want anybody to believe that my life is perfect. I think it's a wonderful life, but it's I don't know. The way I was talking about diversity. Ooh, this kind of almost takes us back full circle. Boy, I'll be tempted to end the call here. Usually when you've come full circle, you're kind of done. But we talked about diversity. So the thing is that neither of us is perfect, right? We all have our issues and fears and doubts and all this stuff. But I feel that's what makes us perfect, right? That's the humanity of us, and we got to celebrate that and cheer that. So yeah, guys, I don't want you to get the impression that Avi has got it all sorted out, and definitely not that, like, yeah, that's what I want. No, I want you to create your own life. All right, cool. So, boy, I didn't see anything on YouTube pop up again. So I know there were some questions earlier, but I'm going to assume that you're not online anymore. Sorry, I missed you. If you really get bored and are hunting for questions, we'll go back. So yeah, I didn't see anything there. So let me ask the folks on the phone again if anybody has a question. So I see Julian, I see Michael, Steve, and Tom. Do you guys have any questions for me? And again, on YouTube, if I missed your question, then just you can just type in, say, Javi, I asked a question earlier. That's it. All right, no questions there. Boy, I'm.
Avi.
Yeah.
Julian again. Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to hold things really.
Hey, nobody else is stepping up, so by all means.
Okay. Although that was an issue that I wanted resolved with the one that you did.
Yes.
The way I was going from was there's another training you did, which was on year-on-year measures.
Yes.
And it covered going from year 0 to year 1, going backwards.
Yeah.
And it didn't cover going
Multiple
a further
years.
year back. So, for example, if you remember my file, I've got part of this year.
Yeah.
And I've got 2018, I've got 2017.
Yeah.
And I've been playing about trying to create measures that will not just look at the prior year, but will look at prior year plus one.
Yeah, that's right.
It sounds quite complicated, I think, for this.
I mean, that's a good question. Good question. So, hey,
shall I bring up my finger? Shall I bring up my finger again?
Sorry, say again.
Shall I bring up my my file again?
Doesn't this solve it? I mean, you can put the year-to-date filter and boom, right? I mean, it works across 3 years. It's going to work across 10 or 20 years. This filter is always going to filter down based on that. Now, I kind of know what you're asking, but I just want to kind of, kind of test it and say, hey, so yeah, doesn't this solve it? Why would you care about doing it in DAX at all? If this solves it, then you're good to go.
Okay, well, maybe I've not explained it, which is something that wouldn't be unusual.
I see a note. You're really funny, Julian.
Right. I just want to share here. Share my desktop.
Yeah, hold on. Let's do that. So yeah, there would be a DAX way to solve it, which could be an interesting route. All right, so yeah, we're looking at your screen again.
Yeah, so this matrix here.
Yeah.
I guess I'm looking for percentage changes.
Percentage changes. There, so. Yeah. I get it. I get it now. I get it. Can the filter work for this? I think it can. Percentage change. I think it will work. Yeah, I think you're all set. Now, of course, I realize that there are two paths. You could solve this in DAX as well. We may try that. All right, let's. Ooh, yeah. Actually, I do like that idea. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna grab back presenter and go with that. Hey, I'm gonna put you on mute, and if you need to talk, just unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It's all right. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's a good question. Let me see. I think I saw something on YouTube. So let's pick it up to kind of make it fair. We usually do try to tag back and forth between YouTube and this. Oh boy, maybe we can do both of these. All right, so let's do. So I'm gonna park Julian's question for a second. So let's see which one we can take. Ooh, what happened there? Got that. Got it here. And I'm gonna take a screenshot for good measure too. Oh, nope. Man. Okay, there we go. Boy. It's best with a massive task of in a structured way. Let's try seeing which one is. How do you do conditional formatting to highlight negative variances? For example, if you compare actual numbers to budget in an income statement. Let's take that one because I think I have a feeling that that's an easy one. It's best with a massive task of. Oops, sorry. I'm like, hey, who unmuted them? That was me. Okay, let's see. Mute this side. All right, so let's go here. 0958. and conditional for that's good enough. Conditional formatting to highlight negative variances. For example, if you compare actual numbers to budget. But just so happens I have that exact example. Yeah, I know my students kind of get tired of this. Avi, do you have anything beyond sales? I don't work with sales data. I'm in logistics, HR. So guys, I know. I mean, it would be ideal if you could see examples in your data set, but the more I see examples, it's funny that how many times they would show me something in logistics, something in HR, and I can recreate that exact problem in AdventureWorks. So yeah, it's a decent data set, and again, the concepts you can still kind of apply. All right, so in here we're trying to do variances, sales versus budget. Let's just focus on one of these maybe. Oh, this is a Julian Glass file. Are we okay with messing it up? I guess we are. Let's try this one to be a matrix. Yeah, so conditional formatting. I don't know if you have like a table of things. Well, let's go with the table. How about that? So I'm going to add variance in there and variance percentage. We're going to increase the size a little bit. And we're going to pop it out. Hopefully that works. Okay, and if we go here, maybe I'm going to get rid of the category for now. Yeah. So just so we see a few different numbers. So pretty much conditional formatting. So in here, I think we can go to kind of variance and just say conditional formatting. And oh, I think they changed this already, or maybe this was always like that. Background color, font color, data bars. Usually go for the lightest approach that works for you. So background color gets a little more intense. Maybe that would have been actually better for a demo, but so maybe yeah, let's switch to that. Would it color scale, and we can say lowest value, highest value. Let's just use the default, see how that works. All right, there you go. And of course, there's lots of different options you can play with that. So you can do that in a table. You can do that in here. It's already been done. So here you're going to go to data color and format that conditionally. So default color. And I do have a gripe with Power BI team. I don't think this is very discoverable. Like, why make me click on these three weird dots? That shouldn't be that way. Instead, and I just thought of this, guys. I was like, what would be the better way? I feel like, what if it was something like this? So you went to the data color, right? And when you expanded this, right here, there was an option, right? So say, oh, yeah, you can choose these colors or custom color or function. And I think maybe it can be slotted like right below this. So I think that would feel more natural, more discoverable. It's like, I don't want it to be discovered yet. So I don't know. So yeah, so it's not very discoverable, but once you know where to look for it. Oh, shoot, I guess you can't do that for that kind of graph, or if you have two items. Let's change that. So it might be based on your graph type, is it? There we go. Now there's conditional formatting. Yep. All right, so Roweda, hopefully that answers the question. Let me see if I can tackle Jen's question really well. Not quick, but actually no, not why quick. So combining Excel files in a structured way. So the biggest example of this we've seen is when we were doing budgets inside Microsoft. And you can imagine Microsoft is not a small company. That the way that I've seen budget being done is it kind of trickles down and roll up, right? So imagine kind of like a mountain, and I'm not sure if it operates the same way everywhere, but that's just what I saw in Microsoft. That some big guy at the top, you know, they decide the total budget and just say, ooh, whatever, X billion dollars. I don't remember what Microsoft budget was. Maybe it wasn't billions, maybe it wasn't. Right, so $1 billion, and then they send it to the next level. They actually, so usually this level, the topmost level, talks with the next level, and then however many segments are there, it's like, oh, you get dollar, you get dollar, you get dollar, you get dollar. So what they're doing is they're breaking it up into these small pieces, and then you repeat the same exercise, right? So this part now gets broken up into other pieces and so forth, till almost all the way to the bottom. And I've talked with folks at the bottom too, and yeah, I mean, they don't need visibility to all of that. They just say, oh, this is my piece, this is how I'm going to break it up. And of course, then they break it up not by just their department, but they're looking at other things like, okay, so this is my budget, but X of this is personnel. So yeah, that is that dimension as well, right? So there's kind of by department, of course, everybody needs to commit to that, hey, this is their spend and so forth. But and actually, this is not at the lowest level, this is kind of at all levels, where you also break it up by kind of type of spend, if you will. So there is, payroll, of course, and a whole bunch of other things. And then maybe there are other segments here as well. What are we spending on? Who's spending it? Let's just go with that for now. So this was a massive exercise. Oh, yeah, right. So, and frankly, I'll admit that this was a few years back. So maybe other folks would have, hey, sorry if I knocked the mic, better approaches around this. Maybe there's Power Apps, Power Flow, something like that. But I'll just share what we did. So what we did was SharePoint folders. SharePoint folders, which had budget files at let's say each level. It wasn't quite that, but let's say imagine there's each level. Now these files were connected back to a single model. You can call it a master file if you will. And you'd have seen, those images of the dragon eating its own tail. It was kind of like that. I'll tell you why. Because this was both an input and an output. So this file had data from the master model, right? So connected back to master model. Actually, let's do this. Connected back to master model, and it had data from the master model, providing guidance. So this provided some guardrailing. So this would tell me, so I'm manager of a group, and say, hey, Avi, your total budget for you to allocate however you wish is $3 million. That's what you have. And then, of course, as I allocate, it'll keep me in those guardrails and say, oh, you've exceeded your budget, the numbers don't match, or something like that. So it'll provide the guidance there. And it'll provide more guidance in the sense that it'll also show me what my last year budgets were for my departments and my type of spend of payroll. So I can say, yep, last year's payroll was this. Man, I know I'll be hiring, so let me put some more money in payroll. Well, we got to save some costs somewhere else, so maybe we're not going to buy new computers, things like that. Right? So there was the guidance part, but then I would write my data on there as well. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I know more sophisticated tools around this. There are quite a few, actually. One of them is by a company whose name was, believe it or not, inspired by my tagline. So, of course, power on, right, guys? We should have like a symbol or something like, I don't know, power on, handshake, something. But, they're called Power On BI. So they have had this product which can help make these things easier. And basically what that gives you is a write back capability. I wouldn't go too much into that, but it's pretty awesome. If anybody's interested in this, ask them for a demo. Tell them Avi sent you. And by the way, just to be clear, I do not get a commission. All right, so yeah, I just love those guys. I've known and met the owner. Really respect him. Really nice guy. And frankly, I don't know. I mean, I like doing business with nice people. Not just. And they have a great tool. All right, so of course, there would be more. there will be more. There are quite a few in the space. But anyway, let's come back here. So input data, budget input data. Yeah, so we have both input and output, and then Power BI part was frankly not that hard. It was just files from a folder. But we had one advantage, which I'm not sure, Jen, if you have or you do or you do not have, which is all files were alike. It wasn't simple, by the way. But, I mean, there's always something going on with real data, right? There was always like, oh, we do this different. But all files were alike, and we control the format. We could tell them. So I was working with the folks at the top. So yeah, so we control the format, and yeah, so we could say that, hey, this is how it's going to be. So that makes things simpler. If all files are kind of different formats, you can't control it. Somebody else is just giving the file to you. Then it becomes more complicated. Then files from a folder does become a little more challenging, but you gotta balance it. I mean, you can go file by file, like each file is unique, but that would kind of hamper you. So maybe segment your files in some way. The more you can pick it up in bulk, and you can keep them in the same folder, but maybe have something in the names, a prefix, suffix, like, hey, these are these kind of files. These files have the budget from I don't know, HR, and they look different, and these files have budget from somewhere else, and they look different due to whatever reasons. So you can segment them by that, and then bring in the folder and say, now I'm doing the files that start with HR underscore HR, something like that. Or I had another idea, which escapes me now. I'm just going to sit here for a second. Can be in the same folder, can have different names. Or sometimes you may not even have control over the naming suffix. Then you can use a mapping table of names or names or name file type. There has to be some pattern in either some pattern in file names, or and I guess the file names need to be kind of fixed. Name format needs to be fixed. So you can have like an end date on there. So it could be, for example, it could be budget and kind of HR something, and then it can be 2019, right? So that part can change, but there has to be something here which lets you kind of club it together, and then you would basically do a table, and you would say file group, file name group, file name, or maybe file name pattern, up to you. And then you would say yeah, so if it and if it's pattern, maybe you're saying it starts with HR star, then do this, and HR star, blah, I can't think now, sales star, support star, do it this way. And then if it has I don't know, something else, collection, and then you can say, oh, all of these are group 1, they look alike. That's what group 1 is, that they look alike, they have the same format, but this other file is group 2, they're not similar. So I think you would do that, and so hopefully, yeah, you can so this way, if you have 50 files, you're not doing it 50 times. You say that out of these 50 files, I have 3 groups. One group has 20 files, another group has 20 files, the last group has 10 files. And so now you have a kind of 3 versions, if you will. So that makes it easier to manage. All right, so that's the kind of the best advice that I can share. All right, so cool. Anybody had any other quick question or thoughts on the phone? Otherwise, I'm going to dive into Julian's next question. All right, so Jen, hopefully that helped. Ruvela, that's a great question. I like that. But we're gonna just follow a pattern. So by the way, folks, yeah. So we just go back and forth. So first we take a question from a students, Learn Power BI program, and they're on the phone with me. And then we take one from chat, and we kind of just run robin. So the next one, I want to go back to Julian's question because we didn't fully help him. Julian, round 2. Round two, my friends. Are you ready? Round two. And this is what are we going to call it? So
I'm muting
DAX
myself.
measure across years. Yeah, I think this calls for a DAX approach. Okay, let's see. Let's come back here. So first of all, yeah, I didn't. Let's kind of sit in and let's make sure we understand what the problem is. What are we solving for? Actually, Julian, what I would say is that stay on mute. But if I go the wrong way and you need to pull me back, then yeah, you can unmute yourself and speak up. All right, I think that's good. All right, so first of all, let's identify what the problem is. Sorry, man, I had to put you on mute. Yeah, just if I go the wrong way, then you can pull me back. So what is the problem? So this thing works. Oh, actually, um, let me think. Let me think about it. Maybe there's not a problem. And of course, there's this other thing that my coach talks about. There are never any problems, Avi. Yeah, there are no problems. If you think there's a problem, it is. It's going to be a problem. All right. So anyway, these either way, it's going to be fun, right? So what I'm thinking about, I had this thought when I was talking to Julian earlier, but now I can't form it in my head. What I'm thinking is does this flag already solve that problem or it does not? That's the key question. That's the key question. And this is where I like Excel. So let me hook up Excel with this model, and we'll explore there. I'll get to show you a trick, and it'll make our work a little bit faster. Okay, so we got this one going, and we have this, and I'm gonna connect to this guy, and I'm gonna grab this URL from here, 54251. I'm gonna go over to Excel. Sorry guys, I keep knocking the mic. And let's connect to that. So if I say data, give me from analysis services, and I'm just connecting to my Power BI model, and finish, and pivot table. Okay, nice. And we're going to recreate the same thing that we had over there. Excel is an amazing visualization tool. What you shouldn't be doing, and it complements Power BI, by the way, the finance team in Microsoft that I was talking about, when we first walked in, or we thought that we're going to replace Excel with Power BI, which is the silliest thought in the world, guys. If you're doing it, God forbid, or if you see anybody else doing it, try to knock some sense into the head, all right? Excel is a complement to Power BI. Power BI is definitely not a replacement. So yeah, we ended up with some reports in Excel, some reports in Power BI, and of course, what works best, what is required is you have a single model, so everything connects back to the same thing. So let's go in here, and I'm going to add budget on there. I'm going to add variance. So he was talking about, I think Julian was talking about like year-over-year change, which is oh shoot, actually no. So ignore budget. Forget about budget. We might have to go back and define some measures. I'm not sure if we have year-over-year in here. Well, we can do that really quick. So let's go to sales. Do we have? Oh boy, yeah. I'm glad we're kind of doing this. So if we go to sales, we do not have year over year. Oh, okay. I can either open the file that it has, or maybe define it really quick. Let's just define it really quick. And what we're gonna do is go here. and filter this to a single year. So guys, this is, I'm not going to do anything new. I'm going to go a little bit fast because this is pretty basic stuff. It's certainly covered inside a course. So if we select a single year, 2016, and we focus on this guy. Actually, maybe I'll leave this one on a corner here. Okay, so we focus on this. Okay, got it. And in here, well, you know what? Let's just try a new page. I got that. Don't sync. All right. Okay, let's do sales year over year. It's coming up. Did it? Come on, Power BI. I'm just trying to create a new measure here. Okay, there we go. I think I was a little too impatient. Okay, so let's say sales prior year. So the classic format is just calculate, give me sales, but for the last year. And you can use date add. Sometimes I do. But for now, we're just going to say calendar date. Calendar date. And we have, where did that one end up? Ended up in budget. Let's put that in sales. All right, so we're gonna get sales prior year over there, and looks good. So sales prior year, and you can say 0. And now let's do one more measure, and we can say, and of course, year over year change, and this will be sales minus sales prior year. So we got that. Let's add that on there. And as we're doing it, I'm still thinking, that didn't work well. What did I do wrong? Sales minus prior year. Oh, okay. My year isn't filtered. Okay, let's try not by category, by something else.
Avi, the values were the same in the two columns, the prior year and the current year.
Yeah, I think my year wasn't filtered. That's why. So now, okay, perfect. And if we go back and fix the formatting for year over year change, and we're going to do one more new measure, the change percentage. I think that's what Julian was after. So change percentage or percentage change. Let's do change percentage. And we're going to say sales year over year change divided by prior year. Okay, we got that right. Oops. And let's add that on there. Hey, is it just me, guys? I mean, I know I'm running quite a few things on my computer, but does anybody felt like the Power BI new release is a little bit slower? You know, if you have, let me know. All right, so sales year change percentage. We're gonna do it to percentage, and no decimals. So we have this. Now I know what Julian was looking for. He was looking for this percentage change across multiple years. Multiple years. Let's try that. So now oh man, the famous Julian Glass. Okay, you probably can't see it on that. I just named the sheet after him. Where did that go? There we go. All right. So now we don't want the filter on here. So that's the classic pattern. That's the way everybody should do year-over-year change. That's how it should be. But sometimes you're looking for something slightly different. And again, that's what I talk about, where often what I feel is that you can have access to the best training out there. And of course, there's always Google, right? But sometimes you find all the answers, just not yours. And of course, that's why we provide, we make sure the students have the support in our program to kind of get over that. Oddly enough, and I just thought of that, I wonder if that applies to other things as well. So of course, the thing that I'm doing kind of these days is I'm focused on like how can you make somebody a successful Power BI consultant? Like what's the recipe for that? And I wonder if that has the same cycle. And now that I'm thinking about it, so I know guys we're digressing, but I think this is a good side road, is maybe succeeding as a professional in general, which is not about technical skills. Technical skills is only a small part of that. And it's not about hard work. Please don't get me started on that, right? So this lies that we are conditioned with come from a lot of sources, which is hard work, is directly proportional to success, and your skills is directly proportional to success. But you lift your head up out of the sand, you realize that that's not true. And certainly I've seen that many times throughout my own career. Man, I had the skills, right? I mean, I didn't get suddenly smart, hit my head on a lamppost and like, whoa, woo, my IQ just went up or something. That didn't happen. And don't tell me that I wasn't working hard earlier. Please don't say that. All right. So I was working hard, but most of my career I struggled. I went nowhere. And of course, then I saw it again and again in my students, right? So it's not those things, it's something else. But let's say if the same principle applies, is it the same cycle? So I'm going to take my story, and boy, I've been stuck a few times in my kind of creating this business, this programs, and in a way that was kind of, I did learn. So I joined I felt lucky to have joined like an amazing group of entrepreneurs. The coaching, the community was incredible. So I was learning there. There was content there that would teach us, hey, here's how you do it, and da da da. And then I was applying it. So that was do part. Yeah. So we're talking about the LDFW, learn, do, fail, win. So I was learning, I was doing, and then I was definitely failing. So again, I mean, you look at Avi, like, oh, Avi, you're all set. Well, for one, it doesn't quite work that way. We talked about the iceberg thing. It's something else. But even in this journey, oh boy, did I fail multiple times. Now, of course, now they do talk to us about how failure is a good thing, which again, I mean, if you realize that failure is the other side of that coin, the win coin, right? So fail, win. And yeah, the coaching and community did help me win. Boy, I really feel that it's the same principle. It's the same principle. It's the same cycle which helped me accelerate in my business. The learn, do, fail, win. Learn, do, fail, win. Maybe it's a universal thing. So I don't know. Maybe like I can't think of. So I know it works for business if you're thinking about becoming a consultant, which is running a business, right? Entrepreneur, solopreneur. So that does apply. So keep that in mind, guys. Think over that. Does it apply if you have a 9-to-5 job? Is it the same cycle? I think that one is a little tricky because I feel like by by definition, I don't know if it's, you give up control. It's so, my analogy has always been that when I was an employee, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I had a great time working in Microsoft and even other places. It's all about trade-offs, but I felt like the steering wheel wasn't in my hands. You just don't have that control. A reorg happens, your manager changes, and your world changes, right? So I think the learn, do, fail, win cycle is hard, and maybe that's why. So some of the folks that are drawn to kind of consulting, they like that. They want to accelerate their learning, and they maybe sense that in some way it's kind of hard. It's a little bit harder to do it. They're lucky ones. I've talked to folks who have been able to create the perfect position, and I always say ask for forgiveness rather than permission. Just go out and do it. You don't have to ask anybody. And that's what I did within Microsoft. All right, cool. So let's get back here. Let's get focused here. So this one. All right. So again, this pattern worked year over year, but that's not what we want. We want to see kind of across multiple years. So here, what we're going to do is I'm going to try to recreate the problem, get rid of this stuff for once. Sales priority, sales, all of that, and that's gone. And sales really changed as well. And then bring in year, show multiple years at the top. Show multiple years at the top, and we say this. Boom. Look at that. No, okay, we just getting started. So grand total. Total doesn't make sense, so let's turn that off. And I always go looking to turn the total off in grand total. Tell me, guys, it's not just me, is it? It needs to be here. I go to grand total and then it's not there. And then, maybe it is just me. Now I get it because it's not really a grand total. It's either the rows are totals or the columns are totals. So let's do that. Okay, so we got this, and we want to see the same thing in year over year percentage change. So let's do that. Oh shoot, I was going to do this in Excel. What happened to that? Sorry, I just forgot. Maybe we will do it in Excel. So we will come back and say sales, and I'll put percentage change here and remove this one here. So 2014 is infinity. Teaches me to use divide. Divide by 0. Infinity. Okay. Infinite sales growth. Great. All right, so now that looks better. Although, yeah, 2017 doesn't apply, so ignore that for now. But we got 2 years, and let's see if it looks accurate. And we're just gonna kind of spitball it. Actually, let's do this. So in here, what we're gonna say is for year, show items with no data, and we're gonna add a filter to shade 2014, 15, 16. So we're gonna come in here and say, show me 14, and I'm just doing it to make it look right. I wouldn't recommend you do it for a real report. Okay, cool. So now if we say, did Australia drop 20%? 20% would be 1/5. 1/5 of, yeah, that 500,000. Yeah, it looks right. So this looks right. This was almost cut in half, 600 to 300. Yeah, so this looks right. And these numbers, 2015 to 16, we grew 100%. Australia did grow 2 million to 4 million. And then let's look at something else. Germany grew by 200%. Germany went from 6 to, three times. Yeah, perfect. So this is right. But of course, this is not what Julian is looking for. He's looking for year to date where things were. So this is a litmus test. And I actually don't know. So I'm just gonna pause once and think, is it gonna work or is it not gonna work? Is a new flag gonna work? So if we say year to date 2015, okay, I can't fully see it, but my gut feel, I would say that it is going to work. So let's do screenshot this one and keep this, and this is where this is why I wanted to do this in Excel, because in Excel you can have like a quick formula on the side to test it. That's okay. You may still do that. All right, so now let's do the test. Proof is in the pudding. So we're going to bring up our new filter here and see if it works. Now, I realize that even if it works, there is a DAX approach to it as well. You can solve this in DAX. Whoa, that was like disco dancing. What was that? The shrinking slicer. And for one, the numbers did change, so that's a good sign. They definitely look different. We knew that sales is going to look different because we had already tested that first. So let's, and again, I mean, if this was in Excel, I would be doing it differently. But in Power BI, I'm too lazy to kind of export it or something. So let's just put it side by side. So this one is year to date. Fair enough. So this one is year to date. And the other was full year. All right, so let's zero in on year to date and see if it looks right. So Canada grew by about 50%. Canada was 100, grew about 50. Yeah, that looks right. All right, cool. So United Kingdom barely grew. Yeah, 2015. And let's check one of the 2016 numbers. Australia doubled from here. 68 is 714. Yeah. So, and Canada didn't quite double. So 17 times 2 is 34. Yeah. All right. So, so Julian, I think this filter doesn't matter what your measure is. It'll work. So it showed us. So what we had solved first was it showed us sales year to year, but really doesn't even matter. Whatever measure you have, it is simply going to work. If you can unmute and kind of nod your head or let me know, that'll be great. Otherwise, I'm feeling good. So again, there is a DAX way to solve it, and I'll not go dive into that today. I usually love diving into kind of DAX versus query editor. The default should be any clean shape transform should be done in the query editor. In any math, calculation, numbers, metrics, things like that should be done in DAX. But sometimes you got to too. So Julian, what do you think? This is good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's
Okay, yeah. It took us a bit of a journey to get there, but yeah, it's kind of a good thing that it is. Oops, what is doing that? All right, perfect, mate. All right, let's take one last answer. One last question from YouTube, and we'll call it a day. Let's see. So, so Joe was helping Rueda. I always love when that happens. I get the comments for the reason. Okay, so Rueda, I'll give you a quick answer. So what you do is you create a table somewhere, or table or SharePoint list, which has like the month. What we had was a monthly commentary. So we had monthly commentary by department. Now I don't quite have department in my table right here. What I do have is subcategory, and I have country, but it doesn't matter. I mean, whatever your structure is. So a table that's coming in which has commentary by month, by department, and it's going to have obviously the text, of course. So let's do that really quick. So 10 to 13. Why do I say keep going quick? Let's just answer the question. So Ruveda, seeing how can we add commentary, and I think Joe did have that custom visual. I don't really think you need a custom visual. Add commentary to finance reports. Actually, let me see. So I think this one might be in our course. That would be easy for me to pull up and just show you. Let me see if I can pull that up. Okay, so while that's coming up, maybe I can give you guys a small tour of a program. So the tutorial that's online, that's actually our first module. And truth be told, it's the compressed, condensed version of our first module. And inside the course, so there's some stuff. Ignore this guy. That's not there. But online, what you have is the condensed version of this. But that just sets the stage, and then we dive deeper into query editor relationships, DAX. I feel that's the heart of it. Visuals are important, and we do cover that. We talk about the best practices, all of that, and then we talk about the platform. And then, of course, we have kind of different levels. The one that I'm focused on right now is kind of goes beyond Power BI, because the focus of this is, hey, how do you become a successful professional and really a successful consultant? We're now kind of focused on that. We might even narrow it down even more, which is frankly me kind of taking my own medicine, because I always tell my students to niche down. You don't want to be out there in the marketplace being the Power BI person. It's a waving of like, hey, I do Power BI. You gotta combine that with something on the business side, and the narrower you can get, the better. So we might even focus this program on folks who want to become a consultant, but frankly the only thing that I can teach is what I've done, which is to create the kind of life where you're working for yourself, you're your own man, and you build a life where it's you well, you have freedom, flexibility. You choose the hours. Last year, I took a month off and traveled. I want to be able to do that. I want the flexibility where I can work from anywhere, anytime. All I need is an internet connection, that sort of thing. So not necessarily somebody who wants to go work at, God forbid, Accenture or something like that, right? So those are consultants too. But I don't know. I really don't even want to encourage people in that direction. And I don't. That's never been my calling. So I can't teach that. So so that's kind of my focus. So anyway, so come back here. Let me just show you. I hope this has the commentary and I can find it. Let's see. So that's gonna show you how it looks like. Field map. Where is the commentary? Drill down, custom visuals. Oh boy. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just find it really quick. Hold on, guys. I didn't think this would take this long. All right, there we go. Okay, so I pulled up the course of contents. By the way, for those who are inside the course, it's in the welcome module, so table of contents, and I often use that to just search for stuff, and I'm hoping I find this commentary. Come on. There we go. So that is in 5H. Show additional information and hover 6 tool tips in 5H. Oh, holy moly. I still may not find it. I need to go back and 6 underscore tools. Oh, okay, got it. I see how it's done. 6 tooltips. Okay, of course. So again, there's some source that's coming in from somewhere. And actually, we can take a peek at what the data looks like in this case. In this case, it looks like this. So again, this one doesn't have like the department, but you probably would. You would have a department or something like that, or however your division is done. If it's like a sales team, you would probably divide it by region because that's how they're structured. Otherwise, yeah, oh yeah, this is the month, this is the department, this is their commentary. And you can have a hierarchy as well. You don't have to have it at one level. You can have departments and sub-departments and whatever that structure is. You can have commentary at all of those levels. And then one way to expose that is through tooltips. So here, well, yeah. So they just hover over it and they see this commentary. Now, of course, you don't have to show it that way. You can also add it on the page itself as well, which it's for this, unfortunately, this one. So I think Joe maybe was talking about this, where the standard visuals that I've seen, they don't do like a good, they don't wrap it well. So I think the custom visuals, some of the custom visuals can help you kind of, so that you don't end up with a scroll bar. So yeah, commentary, what is going on here? Oh, I have to select a month, sorry. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, I am using custom visuals here. So when somebody selects a month, then so you can see this is the default kind of visuals. Don't look that great. This one needs to reduce the font a little bit, but yeah, this one looks fine, I guess. And yeah, you can just search for text in custom visual for marketplace, and you'd find some of these. So you can display that. Now, of course, another thing that I just realized is that would it be nice, and of course I would do this in a real model, is that have some sort of, if it is nothing is selected, then maybe commentary use a default value saying, hey, you need to select a month to see that month's commentary or something like that. And of course you can have it be more granular, that hey, which department is selected, then showed based on that, and so forth. All right, so Riveda, hopefully that answers your question. I like the tooltips approach. I think that works. That works well, because the way what I've seen is that people see an anomaly. They say, oh, why is June kind of high, right? So I mean, you can see the trend is this way and June is high, or it can be something can be low, and so oh, let me go on that. This is what's going on. So that works pretty well usually. Perfect. So let's see if there's anything else that popped up. Custom visual, enlightened data story for dynamic. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, if somebody has really used a dynamic commentary in a production system and is incredibly happy with it, I would love to know. Every time that I've tried it, it's hit or miss, and the challenge is that if it's hit or miss, then I don't want to put it out in a production report. I want control over exactly what's shown, or knowing that it's going to be kind of good and valid all the time. So we haven't had good results of that so far. But maybe others have. So I don't want to rule it out. Maybe my experience is kind of the exception. Okay, so I did say that was the last question, but this is kind of a generic one. So let's take that on. And plus, I do like this kind of stuff. And again, folks, you always think about that getting more skills is the way to success, and working hard is the way to success. And it's not. It's my belief is that it's this other set of things which can be learned. If there is any proof, there is me. I call myself the accidental entrepreneur. If I can do this, all my life I lived the 9 to 5, the thought didn't even cross my mind that I would do something like this. I would strike out on my own. But I learned it. And of course, I did have some of the world's best coaching and community around me. And thankfully, I'm glad I never, there was a point where I was considering MBA school because I was so frustrated in my career, wasn't getting anywhere. I'm glad I didn't do that. Because I don't know, I'm not a huge believer in the standard systems of education. Stories I've heard from MBA, not to say that it doesn't work, so I realize that I'm generalizing a little bit. but some of my friends, you end up in debt. They didn't get the experience that they thought they would. And another challenge is that there's a risk of being swept away, where you try to be just how others are around you. And so one of my friends who's kind of like me, where we crave a life which is bigger. It's not just about money, just never been about money. I'm not against money. I love money, right? But I want my life to be more than that. And I feel like if you're really just chasing money, it never is enough. I've met people who earn millions of dollars a year, and it's not done, right? I mean, they're like, hey, how can I grow, right? So and when he was I think he was in Cornell, he talked about the kind of other folks who were there, and it's just everybody kind of gets caught up in their frenzy. If you're thinking about MBA, I would highly, highly recommend this book. I'm hoping I can remember the name. Ahead of the Curve. Oh shoot, is this a book? What is a book? Ahead of the Curve. Yes. 2 years at Harvard Business School. How about that, my friends? Huh? An insider account. And he doesn't throw it under the bus, right? It's a very honest account of somebody who went inside there. And yeah, just a very honest account. So if you are thinking about MBA, just read this first, right? I mean, I don't know how many thousands of dollars you would spend on the MBA. Please spend $14.99. All right. If nothing, then you're gonna go in there into your MBA with a little more fair expectations, I think. All right. So I would. Okay, fine. Why beat around the bush? I would probably say it's a waste of time. So there, I said it. So I was there, part of this coaching community, and yeah, it's not MBA, because I don't think MBA really teaches you at least the style of business that I want to do, the life that I want to create. It's weird. One of my other friends came out of MBA and he said, yeah, and so I asked him about his experience, and then he was like, well, now I know what I don't know. And he was like, yeah, there's this vast pool of knowledge out there. But you guys, you don't realize that that's just BS. It's kind of like, what we just experienced with Julian. Julian doesn't want all the answers in the world. He's part of the course. There is the ultimate calendar modules and everything in there. They're out there on YouTube as well. He doesn't want that. He wants his answer. So I don't want to know what I don't know, right? I mean, like, oh yeah, there's this vast pool of knowledge. Who cares? I just want what's going to get me the life that I want. The life that I want does have money, but it has time as well. It has infinite time, unlimited time. Right? I mean, yeah. So, and how do I create that? How do I create a life of that? And where I do what I love, and I help others, because that's my passion. And I help connect others, and so forth. Yeah, so I wanted that, and I don't think MBA would give me that. Maybe it's possible. All right. Anyway, so long story, but what I was saying was is that's why I love kind of getting outside of that, because it's not skills, it's not hard work. It's not that those things are not needed, sure, but they're just few ingredients, maybe not even the most important ones. So rather than reaching out to businesses that have no idea about Power BI, what is the best way to find clients that already use Power BI? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is insane, Freckle Kid. This is exactly what we were talking about inside a group, right? So again, our new program, 6 Figures Power BI Consultant, and we're very interested in this topic. So I'll just share kind of the journey that I've been on with this group. Okay, so oh my gosh, Freckle, thank you. Now I'm excited again. Freckle Kid, how to find clients. So guys, I'm gonna do a quick download. Okay, how to find clients. How to find clients. Okay, so I'll tell you two of the things that I teach in there is one, we teach social presence. I misspelled it, didn't I? social presence. And I'll just give you my example. Well, first of all, actually, I wouldn't give you my example. I would give you examples of, think about the big shots in Power BI. Any name that you can think of. They all have social presence. And writing a book can be a social presence, but that's an old-fashioned way. I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can do like an ebook or something. Ebooks are fine. Ebooks are great, but there are lots of other ways, right? I mean, of course, there's YouTube. There's Twitter, and on and on and on. And I'll talk about. So we talk about strategies and so forth, and we've been working with the students, and I want to do more. And of course, I'm learning as we're going on this journey as well. So we're gonna keep exploring this. And so think about this, and frankly, if you think about kind of the big shots in almost any arena in this day and age, public speaking can be that as well. That is one way to do it. But frankly, I've veered away from that because, man, I got 2 kids, I got family. I don't like traveling. I don't like being away from my family. So it's not my preferred route. I frankly. The most of the stuff that I teach, I want to focus on online. And I think that has several advantages. For one, again, remember the life that I want to create for myself. The life that I want to create for myself is that I can work from anywhere, anytime. I don't care. All I need is a good internet connection. So online works because you attract an online audience, and that means that you don't care if you don't care generally where they are, then you would find kind of people who don't care where you are. Like right now, we got listeners, you guys are watching from all over. And that's an advantage that I want, right? Because that means I can take a month off, go to India, travel around, meet my family, and still be working, if you will, right? So I'm a big believer in that online. But then there are strategies and stuff we're exploring there. Some we teach in the course, some I'm learning as we go with the students. And by the way, I feel like I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. But I was talking to somebody earlier, and it felt like I don't use this word often, but God has kind of put me in the right spot, because what's happening is this confluence of things. So guys, I have learned. I have this whole Power BI world that I'm in touch with. I see what others are doing. I'm active myself, right? But then I can't spell it, can I? Or I can't type it. I don't know which one is it. Then I'm in touch with the entrepreneurs community that I'm part of. And I see not just Power BI folks, but folks from all different, pretty much anything in the world you can think of. There are people in there who do it and make a great living out of it. I mean, there are folks who teach people tapping. No, this is not tap dancing. This tapping is where you remove the bottlenecks and roadblocks in your life. Could be money blocks, right? Hey, I'm not earning more money because probably you're sabotaging yourself, right? There's a mindset block in your head. Or your relationships aren't good. Maybe they've never been good or something like that. Whatever your issue has been, they cure it with tapping. Now, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but guys, don't knock it till you've tried it. So it's a thing. And by the way, this is a whole around NLP, neuro-linguistic processing, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I mean, these amazing people, so which are doing a whole bunch of different things. But I'm also in touch with them, and I see what is working for them in social presence, and I can combine both of these knowledge sets together. And of course, Power BI, there's a kind of community, but a bigger part of that now is my students. I'm learning, I think, far more from my students now, because we're in a field trial, if you will, right? Oh, actually, I like that word. We're basically running a giant field trial. It's like, hey, if you want to become a successful person, both inside and outside, how do we go about that? And we're just kind of experimenting everything around it. So I'm learning. I feel a lot more going on this journey with my students, guiding them through this journey. So yeah, I feel I'm good there. But social presence. So I'll give you one last thing on social presence. So guys, I started working in the corporate America in 1998. And I left 2014. Now there's a gap there, because 2014 to 16 I was in a partnership, but eventually 2016 I went completely solo. And really, I mean, we're in June now, but if you look at my growth in 2 years, I think I was probably 20K subscribers, and actually it's not about the number of subscribers. Let's just not say that, but using basically my social, I want to spell it right, social presence, I was basically able to make a good living. And by the way, I had this quote. I don't know, it really resonated with me. I'm not sure if so. It said, "Make a great living while living a great life." And of course, you get to define what your great life is, right? I mean, is it impact? Is it doing what you love? Is it spending more time with your family? Doesn't matter. It could be whatever you define. There's no right or wrong way to do it, right? So I would just say good life, right? So, right. So in 2 years, it led me to this. 2 years. Think about it. 2 years, it led me to this. What was the end result of this? How many years is that? That's 16 years, right? 16 years. I was still scared when the layoffs came. That's so unfair. And of course, I saw people who were there 20 years getting laid off. And of course, I mean, so this was in Microsoft. That's where I was in the last company. But I did get laid off at Washington Mutual. I was there for 6 years, and it's so unfair. I mean, come on, these are the best years of my life, right? Man, you're young and you're full of energy and dreams and visions. This is so unfair. I give you the best years of my life. What do I get in return? This is so unfair. This is not right. I'm not going to stand for this. This needs to change, my friend. This needs to change. How have we accepted this? How have we all accepted this? This is BS. And frankly, not only did we accept it, as far as I was concerned, there was nothing else. This was it. This is so unfair. So if you can spend decades in the 9-to-5 environment and really not get anything out of it, or you can do 2 years, isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth it? You tell me. I don't know. Is it worth it or not? You get to decide. So yeah. Now, but the challenge with social presence is that it's a slow burn. So you get incredible results. Clearly, you get incredible results. Now, if there's a science to it too, I mean, you can't just go on there and say, oh yeah, I'm going to tweet every day. That's not it, right? So again, and that's what we're exploring inside a course, inside a program, the Pro Plus. And again, if you're interested, just go to learnpowerbi.com and start with my webinar over there, if you haven't seen it already, right? So start there, just learnpowerbi.com. But yeah, so there's science to it, and we're going to get better and better, and we're going to crack it, right? I want to get it so simple. There's a template. I say, hey, if you do these 3 things, your social presence is going to grow, and you're going to become phenomenal. And of course, one part of it is kind of niching down, and of course, I'm big into that as well, so on and so forth. So there are other techniques that we know about. So, but this is, even with all of those techniques, this is a bit of a slow burn. And again, I think this can be effective in as few as maybe a few months even, but still, it's not kind of right away. And another thing about this is, oh shoot, what did I think of that just now? Oh, I did want to say that it's not about the numbers. So I talked to my YouTube coach. I have a few coaches. You can see the sense, right? So yeah, guys, I'm a product of not, frankly, my own knowledge, my own doing even, right? There's these people I've been lucky enough to gather around me, which have just propelled me to success. Or as one of my friends says, that yeah, if you do those things, success is inevitable. Yeah, so when I look at that, man, I mean, if you surround, so there's a saying which I don't know, I think about, but you are the average of your 5 best friends. Now, I don't know. I mean, this is clearly controversial, but yeah, I think, or it says it that way, but I feel it's the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's how I put it. Now, it doesn't sound as nice as this. It doesn't roll off the tongue, right? But people you spend the most time with. But yeah, so if you surround yourself with these amazing entrepreneurs, and you do it the right mindset, where you're not comparing yourself and saying, hey, look how bad I am. But whenever you see something awesome happening, you say, that is an example of what's possible. If they can do it, then I can do it too. So it takes a little bit of mindset, but yeah, it can do that. So coming back, so my YouTube coach, So at one point, and I don't know why I'm slightly embarrassed to talk about this, but I'll talk about it anyway. I talked about the iceberg thing. So I was like, hey, guys. So what I'm thinking is, so at that point, I hadn't quite hit 25K subscribers. Thank you, by the way, for subscribing. 25K subscribers. So I was like, man, I want to get to 25K and all of that stuff and da da da. And man, after that, I want to set my sights on 100K. And he said, that's great, Avi. I'm happy for you, But he said, frankly, we never set goals around that once we got our channel going. And he said this. He said, Avi, I have in my program, right, the folks that I coach, I have people who have 500K subscribers and not making that much money. And I have people who have 2,000 subscribers and making a boatload of money. So, yeah, so it is definitely not about numbers. It is not about numbers. So I don't want you to fixate on that. I know people are going to start with that, but yeah, it's about something else. And I'm not going to go there right now. But yeah, so social presence is one, and that can get you leads, right? And so another thing that I wanted to kind of separate was what is called cold traffic versus warm traffic. So, by the way, this is some of the stuff that, frankly, I have learned in my business school, not the fucking MBAs, but my business school. So it's called, this is the way you run a business. TLC, Tender Loving Care? No, not quite. So this is traffic leads conversion. Simple. Oh gosh. So business is simple, by the way, guys. So yeah, so your mindset defines a lot of things you do. Actually, I would say mindset defines every single thing about you. Whatever you believe, that will be true. All right? If you believe that opportunities are scarce, guess what? For you, opportunities are scarce. If you believe that opportunities are limitless, guess what? You're going to see opportunities at every corner. It's like, oh my gosh. Oh, what about that, right? So, mindset is everything. Business is simple. You got to go with that. Business is simple. Can be as simple as this. TLC. You get traffic, and then you get leads, which is basically, yeah, they contact you in some way. Traffic is just, well, they visited your website, but you didn't get to know them, right? So leads is when they contact you in some way. And then conversion is when you convert them to a customer. That's it, right? So there's this idea of cold traffic versus warm traffic. So cold traffic is usually advertising, or obviously if you're like cold calling, please don't. Cold calling is just so 1980s or 70s or whenever it was done. I don't even remember when it was like hot. Right? So cold calling, I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, it's why use like an antiquated approach? Not that it can't work, but it's about ROI. So there is another thing about in business. It's about cost of opportunity. And frankly, guys, opportunities and ideas are limitless. I think I've discarded multiple million-dollar business ideas on my journey because it didn't align with the life that I wanted to create. So one was, setting up a big consulting company with like 20, 30, 40 people, something like that. I'm like, nope, how would I take like months off in a year with that? I mean, it's possible, but it's I didn't see it. And then, of course, there was the other part where when you have that kind of team, you end up just managing them. That takes your time. I'm not doing what I love, which is Power BI. So cost of opportunity, what the idea behind this is that you don't think of whether the idea is a good idea, but is it the best thing that you should be doing? So you could be cold calling, but if you'd rather, let's say, spend 4 hours in cold calling, what else could you do in those 4 hours? So that is the cost of opportunity, right? So maybe you say, Avi, you're saying cold calling doesn't work. Man, I spent 4 hours and I got 2 clients. Woohoo, right? But I would say, man, but what else could you do in that 4 hours, and could that be more effective than that? So that's the lens through which you need to see. All right, so again, that quote that every think like a CEO, whatever. I mean, that obviously, that's to encourage employees, like you're your own CEO. Well, when you're a consultant, you most certainly are. Maybe as an employee, you should also kind of think like this. Anyway, so come back here. Cold calling, cost of opportunity. We talked about that. So come back here. Cold traffic. So there's cold calling, but usually this is associated with advertising, and it's okay. I mean, we advertise, but advertising I mean, it's a different ball game. It's a different thing. What I love is warm traffic. Ooh, gosh, please. So these people, they kind of know you. So let's dive into warm traffic a little bit. So what are the things that you want to kind of accomplish? That they know. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to go into details right now. So warm traffic. Warm traffic is basically they kind of know you. Let's say that. So obviously anybody you attract through your social presence is by definition going to be warm traffic. So mostly for warm traffic, the dynamic you get is these are self-selected. So you didn't go to them, right? So if you do cold traffic, cold calling, you're approaching 100 people, and you can kind of segment them and try to figure out that, hey, who's my best audience, so forth. But it's possible that 90 of them wouldn't be the right fit, right? I mean, they're not looking for you, and you shouldn't have been looking for them. But that's the way it works, cold traffic. But let's say 100, the same people end up see your social post. Guess what? They get self-filtered, self-selected, because the 90 of those for whom you don't resonate, it's not a connection. They don't say anything, but these other folks are gonna start to follow you or something like that. So it's self-selected already, so you have less of this problem, right? If you were there talking about Power BI, and again, you should niche down. You shouldn't be just like, oh, I'm a Power BI. It's like, what Power BI? What, right? So be as specific as you can, and then if these people find you, they're already warmed up, so you're not gonna have this problem. This problem really goes away. I mean, I don't deal with this frankly at all. I mean, if I do get comments, sometimes so these other folks who are not interested in your stuff, sometimes they would leave like snarky comments. Like I get comments like, "Oh, I could do all of that in Excel. Don't Avi just show off your Power BI or whatever. I can do all of that in Excel." And guess what I say to them? Have a good day. Have a great day. I'm not going to waste my time talking to you because it's the cost of opportunity. The time I wasted trying to convert you, 4 hours I spent trying to convert you, and then maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. I can talk to 4 people who are interested, and that conversation is going to go much easier. It's going to take less time. So warm traffic, social presence automatically gets that. But this is but then so the only challenge here is the slow burn, right? So how do we get like immediate leads? Now, of course, we totally cheat in our program. We're cheating, and we're gonna keep doing that, which is so through my presence, we keep getting consulting leads, and I retired from consulting end of last year so that I can focus on making my students great. I want to see them succeed, and I want to dedicate my life to that, right? So I'm not doing consulting anymore. So that means any consulting leads that I get, I pass it on to my students. But now, of course, I don't want them to. So this can still work, and the way this can work is that and again, if you go to the webinar, it talks about this 5 steps. So it does have kind of training in there, which I think it's going to help you. If you're first of all, the webinar starts with, is this even a good idea for you or not, right? So that's the first thing where it starts at. So go through this webinar again. Just go to learnpowerbi.com. But so it's a 6-month program. So then it talks about my program, which is a 6 months program. And so this can work because 6 months, I think, is probably a fair time. If that they really get into it, they can build a social presence where they're then getting the warm leads. So and then meanwhile, I don't want them to wait for 6 months and at the end of 6 months get some kind of success. I want them to kind of get it ASAP. Meanwhile, I do kind of feed them leads, and so it can work, but we want to go beyond that. So this model absolutely can work. There's nothing wrong with this. So we feed them immediate leads, so that way they start kind of making money and get experience under the belt, testimonials, all of that stuff right away. And of course, the biggest way we do it is the Real Power BI project. right? And we want to run that bigger, better next time. And if you just search for Real Power BI on my channel, if you want to find out more, and I frankly didn't know for a long time, there's a search box, not the big search box over here, but there's like a channel search box right there. Hard to find, but if you search for Real Power BI, Real Power BI. I'm not sure if I do it as one word or multiple words. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So you can see find more information about that. There might be other videos as well, and so forth. Cool. So we do that. So this model can work, but we want to go beyond. So what we've been exploring in this community is really how to get leads and the smart way. What's the easiest way? What's working right now? And frankly, this is where I'm really going to be leaning into my entrepreneurs community and talk to them and say, hey guys. So by the way, lead generation is lead generation. It's fundamentally not different. I mean, you could be doing Power BI, you could be doing tapping. It's fundamentally not different. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ask them, say, hey guys, I get all of you are active on social media. I'm already teaching that to my students, but it takes a little bit of time. How can you get leads kind of right away? So yeah, we're working on that. I have some thoughts on this already, but yeah, so we're gonna develop those more inside our program, especially in this round, and see where that goes. Now I've totally forgotten what the question was. Best way to find clients. Already use Power BI. I would say definitely get started on social presence. You shouldn't wait one single day for this. All right, and so that would kind of help you for sure. And at some point, maybe we'll come back. Maybe once we have kind of cracked it for inside our Pro Plus, we have like a system for this. We have tested it, done the field trial, and say, yep, it works. Then we'll come back and share it. Again, I have some thoughts around this, but yeah, they're not kind of fully formed. I don't feel I'm like there to share it. All right, folks. So I think we'll call it a day. That was a good note. So folks, there are a few other questions. Data flows. You're kidding me. I didn't even know. So data flows are only for premium? That's unfair. Wait. Oh, there's some functionality. Some functionality. Okay. Got it. Nah, I'm not really sure. Frankly, Microsoft, they just do tend to cater towards the bigger businesses. So I don't know myself. Just a dynamic repeater. Oh, that's interesting. Louis Kaplan, I don't know the answer to that. That does sound like an interesting functionality. All right, folks. So we'll call it a day. Let's just keep it on that note. So I'm gonna do kind of a quick recap of just the main point here, which is that if you keep thinking that the way to advance in life, in career, is to keep getting more and more skills, learn more and more things. Man, I just thought of that. The more I learn, the more I realize, the more I need to learn. I don't know what that is, but it's I'll work on this. But it's going to that quote that my friend shared after his MBA. It's like, oh, MBA taught me. Now I know what I don't know, right? So the more you know, it's always going to be more you can learn. And you talk to any Power BI expert, certainly me. I mean, I look at Power BI and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know 1% of Power BI. It's like, it's crazy how big this world has gotten. And of course, that's just Power BI. There's stuff around it. There's a whole Power Apps, Power Flow. There's, there's R, there's Python, there's machine learning, the AI, the Azure Analytics, all this sort of stuff, right? And that sits in a bigger frame of BI. People talk to me like, hey, Avi, I mean, maybe you should learn, whatever the, kind of Domo and Tableau and ClickView and everything, and then you'll be able to compare all of it and provide services to all of it. There's a bigger sphere of BI, and of course, there's like technology, right? So and of course that's just one side of it. Even business learning is more. So I don't think that's the answer. That's not been my experience. That's not what I've seen from my students and even from my entrepreneurs community. It is something else. And it is also not hard work. Did I not work hard the first 16 years? I did. Were there people who didn't work as hard as me and found phenomenal success? Unfortunately, there were quite a few. And that was the bane of my existence. I say LinkedIn was my enemy those days, where I was just like, oh my gosh, you got promoted again? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. You just haven't realized that what the game is and how it's played. And school and everything else, our environment, teaches us this, and it's just not right. It's we were conditioned to think that those are the rules of the game. And frankly, so let's take school for example, because that's easier easier for me. I really thought once I graduated, so I did really well in school, but that was almost a disadvantage because that set my expectations. I said, look, I'm good, right? And I thought, and that's how I expected life to be. That, oh, look, you go to first grade and you do everything there well, and you go to second grade and do everything well there. Life doesn't work that way. So, of course, because I had that conditioning, when things were not working, I would ask, like, what the F is wrong with me? And I wouldn't really get a good answer. I couldn't figure it out. And I thought these were the things, so I would just do more of the same. More of what was already not working. So I would spend longer hours, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna 40 hours and do it. I'm gonna do 60 hours. I'm gonna do 80 hours, right? And yeah, it doesn't work. And oh, maybe I need to learn this and need to learn that, need to learn this, need to learn that. Maybe I should get an MBA. I did go back and study part time. So when my son was born, man, that was hard. I had a newborn, and here I was going part time to college and trying to get a degree, master's degree, because I thought that was gonna do it. It didn't do it, my friends. So yeah, so these are not the rules, my friend. These are not the rules. Wisen up. And of course, I get to kind of explore this world, and I get to crack and figure out that what are the rules of the real game. And I think that's where the journey is. Cool. I'll see you next time. Power on, my friends. Oh, what's going on here?